The LA Chargers take care of it in SoFi Stadium Monday Night Football against the previously undefeated Las Vegas Raiders, advancing to a 3-1 record, tying with the Las Vegas Raiders having the tiebreaker as the lead dog in the AFC West. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Time2Football. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of this channel that we like to call Time2Football. That was a great game. It was exciting for a second when the Raiders were starting to come back, and then the Raiders kind of faltered and let the Chargers increase their lead, and the Chargers ended up getting away with that victory. Austin Eckler had a great performance. Justin Herbert, as always, had a great performance, commemorating the Chargers as well with their victory with the yellow and blue behind us here today. We appreciate you guys joining us this morning, Tuesday morning, whether you guys are waking up with us or been at work for a couple hours at this point, and you're gonna get fired for listening in. But I appreciate you sacrificing your career for us here at Time2Football. But speaking of sacrificing career and advancing careers, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because it's gonna help us out so much for this channel and bringing you guys the best content here available. You guys are joining us in the chat as we are speaking right now. If you guys are listening to iTunes, make sure you guys head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Time2Football. Subscribe to us on there because you can chat with us live as you guys are doing right now. Yo, good morning, buds, from Carl. Miguel with Daily Check-In. Good morning, guys. How you doing? Sir 5. Hand emoji, hand emoji, hand emoji, hand emoji. How you doing? And then you guys are asking your questions. Your fantasy football questions. Miguel is a big Chargers fan, saying, let's go Chargers. Sandra saying, good morning, Hassan. How you doing, Sandra? Got the win even with the Bengals D. LOL. Yes, same here. It wasn't the prettiest performance by the Bengals defense, but hey, I mean, I will say the Bengals defense, I'm going to roster them. I'm going to keep them on my bench because in week 7 they face Detroit, which it's kind of up in the air whether they're going to do that well or not. But you know, if I'm going to roster 2 defenses just in the time being, because they're going to face, I think, the Jets or Houston, or I think it's the Jets coming up that the Bengals face. So Detroit, New York, those are some pretty good matchups for the Cincinnati Bengals. You guys are still asking your questions. Tyler Nash, how much fab you putting on Latavius Murray? Well, hey, good morning to you, Tyler. How you doing? $100 in a waiver wire money, have 93 left. Oh, man. Well, see, here's the thing. I thought, like, okay, people would spend a lot whenever they put in. First off, it started at like $25. That was a lot. When before George Kittle became George Kittle, after week 1, he had a game against the Minnesota Vikings. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy looks amazing. I'm going to grab him. And I put in like $25 to get him, right? And at that point, I was like, man, that's a lot. That's a lot. And then it increased to like $35 for like running backs that your starting running back gets hurt, and then you put in for their backup. And then I'm seeing this year people putting in our viewer league. I think someone put in $50 towards Chuba Hubbard just last week. So, dude, Latavius Murray, I would say, is more of the under the radar kind of guy. So you could get away putting in like, you have $93 left. You could get away putting like somewhere between 25 to 30, and I think you could land him. I really could. But, dude, I mean, people are crazy with their fab. They really are. Elijah Mitchell, you guys remember that? The little hot trend that was going on after week 1? I saw people put in $40-$45 for Elijah Mitchell. Way too much. Way too much in my opinion. But hey, anyways, yeah, continue to ask your questions. I'm going to get to you guys. We're going to have a whole segment later on dedicated to answering fantasy football questions. The most annoying thing in the world is my name is Hassan. And so, as a joke, people will say Hassani, like Dasani. Gosh, what a dad. What a dad. Anyways, NFL news and notes that we have for you here today. We want to get you caught up with everything going on with the, where am I going at right here? There we go. And a little bright flash right there. Ooh. NFL news and notes going around the league. The biggest news. All right, so we got a little bit of an update on David Montgomery. David Montgomery, he suffered a knee sprain, which is actually good news in the sense of the long haul, going to be coming back later on this season. The bad news, he's going to be missing 4 to 5 weeks. We already confirmed this timetable. This was already confirmed later on or earlier today. Maybe it was like last night, earlier today. I don't know. But David Montgomery is expected to miss 4 to 5 weeks. Damian Williams comes in, and Khalil Herbert, who's actually been looking kind of good in preseason against second-team players, of course. But he's going to be working in there as well. Dolphins trade for, speaking of the Chicago Bears, they trade away Jakeem Grant, their wide receiver, to the Chicago Bears for a 6th-round pick. The Bears offense is looking for some sort of life. Darnell Mooney is the number 1 guy now over Allen Robinson. And Jakeem Grant seems to be factoring in over Damiere Byrd as that wide receiver 3. Kenneth Murray has officially been placed on injured reserve after suffering an ankle injury in practice this past Saturday for the Chargers. Did not play against the Raiders. They officially put him on injured reserve. He's going to miss a minimum of 3 weeks. Trent Williams, offensive lineman of the San Francisco 49ers, suffered a shoulder injury against the Seattle Seahawks. He is considered day-to-day. Big blow for the 49ers, who continue to have injuries, as well as their kicker, Robbie Gould, expected to miss 3 to 5 weeks. You saw Mitch Wishnowsky coming in there and missing a couple of kicks, the punter. People often ask, oh, why doesn't a punter just be a kicker? That's why. It's two different. It's the same, but different. It's practice that you put in towards kicking a football versus punting a football. It's completely different. So same, but different. Mitch Wishnowsky is not going to be the kicker. They're going to bring in another guy. The only guy that I've ever seen that has been a kicker and a punter successfully, Pat McAfee in college and high school was one of those guys. Ty Long of the Chargers, the punter, he's actually not that bad of a kicker. He actually filled in last year, I feel. Maybe it was last year or the year before, but he was a kicker for a few weeks, and he did not do that bad. But Robbie Gould is going to be missing 3 to 5 weeks with a groin injury. Brandon Scherf, MCL sprain, talented offensive lineman for the Washington football team, is going to be missing 2 to 3 weeks. Will Fuller, what's new? It hurt again. He had a hamstring injury. He hurt his ribs as well. And now it's confirmed that the broken finger is going to be the biggest asset to him missing this week against, I forgot who they face. But he's going to be missing this week for the Miami Dolphins. He is considered day-to-day. So he might be playing. He may not be. But we think that he's more than likely going to be out. Jimmy Garoppolo has a chance to play this Sunday. So at first, the calf injury was like, all right, well, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is going to miss a couple of weeks. No, not so fast. Actually, as a matter of fact, Jimmy Garoppolo is expected to play. They're just going to feel out the week, see how it goes, how practice goes. But if he can't go, then Trey Lance is expected to go. I wish I knew this news before I said that Trey Lance was a must-add, we're going to give you a preview to that later on in this episode. But Jimmy Garoppolo has a chance to play this Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. Keep that in mind. Henry Anderson, the last little bit of news that we wanted to share, very underrated defensive lineman, has actually been a big contributor to the Patriots' defense and why they're so good this season, at least. Henry Anderson tore his pec. He's going to be out for the season. Big blow for that Patriots defensive line. But that is your NFL news and notes for today. Now we're going to get into waiver wire ads and drops. So we split this up as its own video coming out later today, and usually about a couple hours after this live stream ends. But for you guys that are early birds, want to tune in with us, we give you a little bit of a preview beforehand. So I went ahead and did a little bit of voiceover before going on live, and it sucked. It honestly sucked because remember last week when I was dealing with that whole is it COVID, is it not COVID, and it's actually just a lack of sleep or like weather changing, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's starting to get out of my system now, and if you heard the raw tape of that recording, it did not sound that good. So with that said, if my voice sounds kind of a little off, that's why. But I'm just going to go ahead and play the waiver wire ads and drops, let it run for like 7 minutes, and then I'm going to get back to you guys. So check this out. Here are our fantasy football waiver wire ads and drops for Week 5. With quarterbacks, the must-adds, Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins, and Daniel Jones. And are out of the week, Sam Darnold. Disclaimer, there's absolutely no way that Darnold keeps up this kind of production. He's a decent runner, but not lethal enough to where it could be a sustainable floor for his fantasy value. Regardless, he's thrown for 300 yards in the last 3 games, so while we expect a dip in production, his passing numbers are worthy enough for a roster spot. The must drops. Jimmy Garoppolo, Ben Roethlisberger, and Baker Mayfield. And our drop of the week, Jameis Winston. All right, well, the experiment is over. We've seen enough of Winston to come to the conclusion that there are better options out there. He scored less than 14 points in 3 straight weeks. He's averaging just 153 yards a game. Until Michael Thomas returns, I wouldn't even consider rostering Jameis Winston. Running backs, the must-adds. Latavius Murray, Samaje Perine, and Kenneth Gainwell. And our out of the week, Damian Williams. This one is pretty obvious. Williams immediately takes on a 3-down role, with David Montgomery expected to miss some time. Along with the likes of Tony Pollard, Kareem Hunt, and Alexander Mattison, Williams should be viewed as one of the more talented handcuffs in fantasy football, so Montgomery owners should have had him to begin with, but if not, don't be afraid to cough up a lot of fab for Damian Williams. The must-drops. David Johnson, Philip Lindsay, and Mark Ingram, LOL. And our drop of the week, Le'Veon Bell. It's only been one game, but I think we've seen enough of Bell to know that he's not worth holding on to. Latavius Murray looks like the top dog on this roster, and Bell will merely be extra depth and nothing else. He won't even be Murray's handcuff, as that role seems to belong to Devontae Freeman. Wide receivers, the must-adds. Darnell Mooney, Jamison Crowder, and Emmanuel Sanders. And our out of the week, Hunter Renfrow. Renfrow has quickly emerged as one of Derek Carr's favorites, averaging 7.5 targets a game. In comparison, he has the same amount of targets the last 3 games as Darren Waller. With at least 5 receptions in every game this season, Renfrow's safe floor makes him an intriguing every-week flex option moving forward. The must-drops. Mecole Hardman, Nelson Aguilar, and Marquez Callaway. And our drop of the week, Jalen Reagor. It's hard to gauge this Philadelphia offense, but it seems like the favorite targets for Jalen Hurts are Devontae Smith and Zach Ertz. Reagor's outlook as a 3rd or 4th option doesn't bode well in this offense. His inconsistency is too frustrating to deal with, as he's had 2 games with over 40 yards, but 2 games with less than 10 yards. Tight ends, the must-adds. Dalton Schultz, Tyler Conklin, and Zach Ertz. And our out of the week, Dawson Knox. This might be the best week to attack the tight end position off the waivers. We didn't even mention that Jared Cook and Evan Ingram are also good adds, but Knox is definitely the cream of the crop. He scored 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games and has 13 targets in the last 2 games. He's owned in just 18% of leagues, so go get him. The must-drops. Cole Kmet, Eric Ebron, and Austin Hooper. And our drop of the week, Jonnu Smith. For the 2nd straight week, Smith is our drop of the week. We wanted to keep it that way after his performance this past Sunday. He scored a touchdown, which will make many rush to get him, but there is no substance behind his performance, as he had just 3 receptions for 14 yards. Smith is owned in 65% of leagues, and that shouldn't be the case. Kickers, the must-adds. Rodrigo Blankenship, Nick Folk, and Chase McLaughlin. And our out of the week, Matt Prater. On another edition of How We Know That People Don't Care About Kickers, Matt Prater is a top 5 fantasy kicker and is available in 2/3 of fantasy football leagues. He's had at least 2 field goal attempts and 4 extra points in every single game this season. But hey, keep rolling with the guy that ESPN told you to draft. The must-drops. Graham Gano, Ryan Suckup, and Jason Sanders. And our drop of the week, Jason Myers. 3rd straight week, Myers is our drop of the week. I'll continue to make him a drop of the week as long as he's owned in so many leagues, which if you're curious, 77% still own him. So many people have him because ESPN told you he was going to be a top 3 fantasy kicker, so you drafted him and didn't care after that. It's been time to move on from Jason Myers. Defense and special teams, the must-adds. The Cowboys, Patriots, and the Cardinals. And are out of the week, the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are going to become a popular drop when people see that they face the Ravens this week. If that's the case in your league, scoop them up and stash them on your bench. 4 out of the next 6 games for the Colts include the Texans, the 49ers possibly without Jimmy Garoppolo, the Jets, and the Jaguars. Always plan your defenses a week in advance. The must-drops. The 49ers, Browns and the Dolphins. And our drop of the week, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans became a popular ad when they faced the New York Jets, but even then, they weren't able to do much damage. So far, Tennessee's defense hasn't looked the best, and though we match up against the Jaguars looks enticing on paper, Jacksonville seems to have improved on offense. Not to mention that the Bills, Chiefs, and the Rams are also on the schedule the next few weeks, so look somewhere else. I had no idea that Le'Veon Bell looks a lot like Peyton Barber. I'll make that change before we drop the video. I guess I missed that. It's just Peyton Barber was the drop of the week last week, and I didn't change the graphic yet. So I will make that change before we drop that ads and drops videos as its own separate video. But that is your early look at the ads and drops. Again, a couple hours from now, we're going to drop it. Don't worry about it. And you guys can go back and watch it for your own viewing pleasure. Now, what we're going to get into today is trade targets, ads, and drops we've already talked about. But what about players that you need to buy, sell, and hold in fantasy football? That's what we do every Tuesday. We talk about players that you need to buy, sell, and hold. One at each position. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Kickers and defenses, people don't really trade them, so we're like, what's the point? We're not going to go ahead and talk about them being trade targets. So, players you need to buy. One buy, one sell, one hold at each position. Starting with the buys, with the quarterbacks. The buy, it's Joe Burrow. I think I talked about him last week, but Joe Burrow's schedule coming up is beautiful. And it's just a matter of time till the Bengals offense just continues to get into a rhythm. Hey, last week, Thursday Night Football against the Jaguars, Burrow looked pretty freaking good. And I have a lot of faith in Burrow being, okay, I have him on the bench. He's a quarterback. Maybe my starter got hurt. Maybe I didn't invest a lot of capital into the quarterback position because I knew that I could just find someone off the waivers. The quarterback, the disparity between points is not that good, or it's not that large. So I'm just going to go ahead and stream quarterbacks. Joe Burrow is that guy that you may want to think about buying for the next few weeks. Quarterback that you need to sell. And I'm not saying sell him in the sense that he's going to be bad for the remainder of the season. No, I think he's going to be good. But sell high is what I'm talking about. Player that you need to sell high, Sam Darnold. Someone who is so big on him, please sell him. Someone that just looks at his numbers and his fantasy football output, please sell him. Leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns, that's not going to last. It's not going to last. That kind of production is going to take a dip eventually. He's a decent runner. I'll give him that. He's not that bad of a runner. But he's not a game-changing runner like Lamar Jackson or maybe Jalen Hurts or Russell Wilson at times as well. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. So, his passing numbers are good, and it's worthy of him being a starting quarterback in fantasy football. But as far as the numbers and rushing, this is the time to sell high, just because his rushing numbers are a little bit inflated. So, sell high on Sam Darnold. Player you want to hold, Kirk Cousins. Bad week against the Cleveland Browns. I know I talked about him being a sleeper of the week, but the Browns defense is legit. Prior to that, he was completing 74% of his passes. Prior to that, he was putting up at least 22 fantasy points a game. You want to hold on to Kirk Cousins. This is a pass-heavy offense. This offense is very underrated with Dalvin Cook at the run game, opening up things for Kirk Cousins in the pass game. Listen, Kirk Cousins is a guy that you want to hold right now. But that's your quarterback buy, sell, and hold. Now, moving on to running backs. Player you need to buy, sell, and hold. First with the buy. Joe Mixon. Take advantage of this. Take advantage of why Joe Mixon or while Joe Mixon is hurt. You want to go ahead and trade for him. Listen, it's not optimistic. Okay? They're saying week to week. I've also heard day to day, but I think it's week to week. So with that in mind, I'm already in my head thinking, okay, I'm expecting at worst 3 weeks. Okay? 3 weeks. Let's just say Joe Mixon, and it might be sooner than that. More than likely it will be, but 3 weeks. He's going to miss 3 weeks. I would still buy in on Joe Mixon. For someone that's like, man, I can't afford to lose 3 weeks out of a running back. I gotta make a trade. I'm 0-3. I'm 0-4. I gotta make things happen. Take advantage of that. Get Joe Mixon. If you're in a good spot, 4-0, 3-1, hold on to Joe Mixon. wait, give up a little bit, take a step back, but then move 2 steps forward when Joe Mixon comes back. He's the 3-down back. He's getting all the work. Joe Mixon, buy at running back. Sell at running back. James Conner. Cardinals offense, explosive. But Chase Edmonds is the number 1 back. Number 1. Chase Edmonds looks like the better running back out of the 2. James Conner is going to continue to get those goal line carries. And the Cardinals offense is going to continue to line up at the goal line. But I like to look at substance more than I like to look at touchdowns. And when you want to get into the discussion of substance and touchdowns, yeah, James Conner isn't bad as far as his substance, as far as yards, as far as carries or anything like that. But compared to Chase Edmonds, I'd rather take Chase Edmonds. And I think he's going to get the majority of the carries, majority of the touches moving forward. James Conner, the goal line touchdowns, he's had quite a bit of a streak going on right now. It's not going to last. So I would sell high on James Conner while I had the chance. Hold Nick Chubb. I know people are freaking out about Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt has taken over the reins for the last couple of weeks in terms of fantasy football production. Don't freak out. Nick Chubb is still good. The fact that people are freaking out of him rushing for over 100 yards. He didn't score. Who cares? Who cares if he didn't score a touchdown? Who cares? 100 yards is 100 yards. I go for substance more than anything. And the substance, and at the worst, is him rushing for 81 yards last week, over 100 yards this past week, no touchdown. Okay. It's going to happen eventually. Give it some time. Give it some time. So hold on to Nick Chubb. Don't do anything stupid. I urge you, I encourage you, please do not sell Nick Chubb right now. Right now. Maybe later on you could. As of right now, Nick Chubb is getting the touches. He's getting the yards. Still a very good back. Wide receivers. Wide receiver buy. Player that you need to buy low on right now. CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb. Going into the season, going into the fantasy football season, I think everybody was hype on CeeDee Lamb. To the point in my draft, he fell to me in the 4th round. And I was like, man, this guy's a steal. And in the 4th round? And people are now seeing, okay, well, maybe Dak Prescott and that offense is leaning more towards Amari Cooper. Maybe they're leaning more towards the run game with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. Talent trumps everything. And CeeDee Lamb is the most talented receiver in that core. I would go ahead and say that CeeDee Lamb is more talented than Amari Cooper. At this point at their stage, or at this point in their career, this stage in their career, CeeDee Lamb is one of, if not the most talented receiver in Dallas. So, just buy on CeeDee Lamb right now. If you have CeeDee Lamb on your team, hold on to him. But if someone is freaking out over the production of CeeDee Lamb, how many points he put up the last couple of weeks, take advantage of that. Buy in on CeeDee Lamb. Sell. Player that you need to sell right now. And this is the week. Don't wait another week. Sell Robert Woods. Now's the time. Please do it. I encourage you guys not to draft him in the beginning. But if you did draft him, that's okay. You had a good week out of him. That touchdown came in garbage time when it really didn't matter that much. So that gives me a little bit less hope about Robert Woods, but gives me more hope about his value and his trade value in the market. Sell Robert Woods. Now is the time. And the player that you need to hold on to, I know it's just been 1 week. Brandon Cooks. Do not freak out over Brandon Cooks. Don't do anything stupid. Don't trade him away just yet. Because I know everybody's mind, they're probably thinking, Davis Mills is the quarterback. This offense is not getting anything done. It's 7 targets this past week, okay, against the Bills. Not bad. It's not the double-digit targets that he's been getting in every game, week 1, week 2, week 3. But if you're concerned about Davis Mills and this offense, Davis Mills against the Carolina Panthers of all defenses threw Brandon Cooks 13 passes. And Brandon Cooks had a pretty solid production day that day. I think he had 16.5 fantasy points. Or 16 half PPR fantasy points that day. So Brandon Cooks, don't freak out. Davis Mills is still going to continue to target him. 13 targets last week, 7 targets this week. Brandon Cooks is a player that you need to hold on to. Tight ends, player that you need to buy. TJ Hawkinson. While the value is so low, buy in on TJ Hawkinson. Still a top 4 tight end minimum in fantasy football. Everybody seems to have forgotten the first couple of weeks, looked at the last couple of weeks, and they just based their assessment off of TJ Hawkinson based off of that. No, TJ Hawkinson is still the main target in Detroit. TJ Hawkinson is still the most talented target in Detroit. Maybe debatable with DeAndre Swift. But Hawkinson, who's been getting so many rave reviews in training camp and offseason, has been looking like the best player in offseason, the best player at tight end university. I mean, TJ Hawkinson, you're just going to have to buy in on this guy while his value is just so low, because there's not going to be any more opportunity where his value is just going to be this low. Buy in on TJ Hawkinson. Player that you need to sell, Dallas Goedert. His value is just really high. Never would I have imagined that a 30-plus-year-old tight end like Zach Ertz, who has not been having the same kind of production he's been having in his career thus far, would I ever say that at this point in his career, Zach Ertz is going to be the main target over Dallas Goedert? It's looking that way. Hurts was the most targeted tight end in training camp, and I think people overlook that because they had that stigma that Zach Ertz is old and broken and not that good. Maybe, maybe not. Who cares? Hurts is targeting him. Hurts is going to continue to target him. It's taking the targets away from Dallas Goedert. So after he had a big week, after he had that touchdown, sell on Dallas Goedert. And the player that you need to hold, Kyle Pitts. I know that he was a buy low candidate. Maybe it was last week or a couple weeks ago. And the 9 targets that he got against Washington gives me a little bit of encouragement. Didn't really do much with it. We're still waiting for that breakout game out of Kyle Pitts. But the talent is there. The offense, with the capability of being a high-scoring offense, is there. The upside is there. I mean, you got to hold on to Kyle Pitts. You have to. It sucks, but okay, you trade him away. What else are you going to get out of that? You're going to get – who are you going to start at tight end? Who are you going to start at tight end? There's only like 5 good tight ends. And then after that, who else? Who else? So those are some players that you need to buy, sell, and hold on the trade market this week, week 5 of fantasy football. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts. Who are some other players that you want to buy, sell, and hold in fantasy football? Now, answering viewer questions that you guys have been leaving in the chats. And we'll go ahead and get started with this. You guys have been blowing up the chat. We got 46 people tuning in right now. Appreciate you guys. Hey, if one of you guys, you 46 guys, is not subscribed to this channel, please, I encourage you guys to subscribe, because we come out with lots of content, and we need the support. We really do, because it's a lot, and if we get more and more subscribers coming in, listen, that just means more and more content is going to be ranking in as well. So let's go ahead and answer some fan questions that you guys have been leaving. David, you said, I'm 0-4 and someone wants Cook and Madison. I have QB Darnold. I'm assuming far old. It auto-corrected to far old. I'm going to say Darnold. RBs, Montgomery, Javonte Williams, Jamal Williams, wide receivers, Hopkins, Lamb, Woods, and Emmanuel Sanders. Okay, well, do you have Damian Williams as a backup for David Montgomery? Because, I mean, your RB room is kind of thin right there. I would keep Cook for now. You have to keep Cook. You really do. Yeah, you could get trade value out of Dalvin Cook. A guy in my my main league got Josh Jacobs, Darrell Henderson, and Stephon Diggs for Dalvin Cook. So I was like, you know that meme where the guy's just like, that's how I felt. So yeah, you could get something out of it, but you got to keep Cook with David Montgomery hurt. Is it worth starting the Bills D versus the Chiefs, or should I stream defense from the waivers? This is by Huncho. Yeah, you got to stream. You got to stream. Against Patrick Mahomes, anything could happen. Hey, who knows? Maybe the Chargers defense, they look pretty decent against the Chiefs, but I don't expect that to happen. Bills defense is probably going to get demolished, and I would stream a good defense. And the defenses that we put on the waiver wire ads and drops videos, if you tuned in at the beginning of the show, those are some good defenses. But stay tuned. Stay tuned for the starts and sits videos that we're going to be coming out with later on, and for the ads and drops that we're going to be splitting up and putting that as its own separate video. Usman, the fantasy football guru. Hey, hello, my fellow brown brother. I'm assuming that you're brown. Is that racist? Hey, it can't be racist. I'm not white. So what's up, Usman? The fantasy football guru. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm not quite there yet. I'm just a guy with a platform, and I just share my fantasy football knowledge that I gained just from watching football games. That's it. That's it. You guys can take the advice or not. Let's see. What else do we've got? Let me scroll a little bit down. GT for DJ Moore. Like, you want to trade away Jonathan Taylor and you get DJ Moore. If your wide receiver room is just so thin, that's a good trade. But running backs, in my eyes, have a little bit more value. So even though DJ Moore and Jonathan Taylor, like fantasy football production, it might be favoring DJ Moore a little bit more. No pun intended. I mean, Jonathan Taylor it's neck and neck. It makes it even at that point. So me personally, I value running backs way more. I would keep Jonathan Taylor. But if you need more wide receivers, yeah, sure. Get DJ Moore. And if you're kind of even, like, oh yeah, I have a good amount of depth for running backs, good amount of depth for wide receivers. The trade doesn't really matter that much. It's just player for player. Keep Jonathan Taylor. That's what I would do. Shizzy from the Ville, bolt up, baby. What's up, dude? 3-1. It's all about the Cowboys. This is from Carl. Okay, well, everybody leaving their team loyalty here. So, Falcons rise up. No, hasn't been happening, dude. Has not been happening. Shizzy, you also say Saints D, Bucks D, Patriots D, keep 2 to roster for the rest of the season. I have the space to keep 2. That is good. Defenses, if you can have the space to keep 2, it matters. It's very important. Rest of the season, you got to keep the Bucks. I mean, they're one of the most talented, if not the talented. Let me rephrase that. One of the most talented run defenses in the NFL because their secondary is. But run defenses makes it well worth it. And facing the Miami Dolphins this week, come on, you got to keep the Bucks. Patriots D is probably the second one that I would keep. I mean, the talent is there. The matchup's coming up actually because they have the Jets, right? They face the Jets. It's the AFC East. They have the Dolphins. They have the Jets. They have the Texans coming up as well. So it makes sense for the Patriots. So the Bucks and the Patriots are the 2 teams that I would keep. I have Hurts and Darnold. They play each other. Who do I start? Jalen Hurts, number 3 quarterback in all of fantasy football. And you guys gave me crap when preseason I said that Jalen Hurts would finish as the quarterback 4. Well, he's number 3 right now. That rushing ability. Even in the worst of the worst games that he had against the Dallas Cowboys, still put up 20 points, 21 points? Jalen Hurts, man. Got to keep rolling with Jalen Hurts, even against a talented Panthers defense. Damian Williams should be the top priority of the waiver list by Miguel. Yes. Absolutely. Tony Pollard, Alexander Mattison, Kareem Hunt, Chuba Hubbard, Damian Williams. Yeah, those 5, I would say, the most valuable handcuffs in all of fantasy football. Damian Williams is there. Maybe he's at the end of the list, but he's up there because the talent he's a starting running back in the NFL. That's now a backup just because age and whatever, but still, 3-down roll coming up for Damian Williams, top priority. Let's answer a couple more. Chase Edmonds or Kareem Hunt for flex PPR? Are you talking about to start? I have not looked at starts and sits yet. I have not done that research just yet. So maybe later on tomorrow I could answer that question. I mean, off the top of my head, they're kind of neck and neck. I don't know. Chase Edmonds would be my choice, but I don't know yet. Should I give Jonnu Smith another chance by CHB? No. 3 receptions, 14 yards. That is not going to kill it for his fantasy football production. And Mac Jones probably had the best game of his career. And you could say, well, he's only going to improve. Maybe. But I'm not hopeful on the Patriots offense. I'd cut it. Well, okay, so I have not looked at starts and sits, but Raphael said Knox or Kittle PPR. I mean, you got to go with Kittle, who's still getting the ample amount of targets the last couple of weeks. More reliable than Dawson Knox. Brett Forsyth, I had 3 RBs who had 2 rushing touchdowns, each stolen by QBs. Lance, Darnold, and Taysom Hill. Very frustrating. Yeah, Alvin Kamara owners are frustrated by Taysom Hill. And there was actually 2 touchdowns, right, that Taysom Hill scored. That stole from Alvin Kamara. Yeah, that sucks, man. I've been there. I hate it. I hate it, dude. As an Antonio Gibson owner, I hate it when J.D. McKissic gets a touchdown. I really do. I know it's not the same as quarterbacks, but still. Is this safe to drop Ayuk and Gaskin? This is by Carl. I would hold both of them. I really would. Gaskin, I think, I'm not hopeful that he's going to be an RB2 at any point in the season, but it's good depth. Where else are you going to get some good depth at running back? If that's the best you can get, that's the best you can get, you know? Let's skip around a little bit more, a couple more. Clap Nuts. Nice name. Trade Kelsey, Woods, and Swift for Waller and Dalvin Cook. Yes. Cook is an upgrade from Swift. Waller and Kelsey are kind of neck and neck. Just for the upgrade from Swift to Cook is well worth it, I would say. Because Waller and Kelsey, you're not really losing anything at that point. And Woods is Robert Woods. Like, who else is going to... If that's what you need to throw in there to entice a trade for Dalvin Cook, do it. But make sure you get Alexander Madison, too. Whoever has him, make sure you trade for him. We are running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this right now. But we appreciate you guys joining in for this episode of Time2Football. Hey, man, are you subscribed to this channel? You're not? You should hit that subscribe button. Yeah, bro, because we come out with content every single day, Monday through Friday morning. Usually around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come out with the show, answer your fantasy football questions that you guys leave in the chats. Ads and drops going to be split up as its own separate video coming up later on. Starts and sets coming out in the next few hours, maybe tomorrow morning. I don't know. Just stay tuned. Subscribe so you know.